Just from the helicopter above an area where clearly there is still a very tense atmosphere and still significant levels of violence going on. We can see one or two people now running towards those police lines who were retreating, throwing missiles. Obviously from this vantage point impossible to tell what those missiles are, although a few planks of wood I think we saw being thrown a moment ago. Still that fire burning at that road junction as well. From what you've seen, Alex, are we talking mainly young people, in some cases very young people, taking part in this?
Some of them are very young, some of them are in their teens. Most of them, I would say, are young men. There's a high proportion of Afro-Caribbean young men here, but by no means all. There are a huge range of ages, all ethnicities. A lot of people concerned about what's happening to their neighborhood, and some people who seem to be just targeting anything that is available to them. It's brought everyone out onto the street, I think.
I mean, there's certainly, on the evidence of the pictures I was seeing earlier when you were talking on air earlier, there's no method in this. I mean, it just seemed to be a shop that just happened to be nearby. If you had something in your hand to strike that shop front with, you did.
Yes, and I saw people picking up stones and throwing them at police. I saw some of them with batons of wood in their hands. They were striking the doors of a bus. They did let the bus driver get off unharmed, but the bus itself was marooned in the crowd. I saw some people running with anything they could get away with from one of the shops that had been looted. So it was very difficult to see what the focus was. If it did start with a stop and search, it certainly went on to become almost formless and to move down the street with more and more people being drawn in. And there are alarms going off, there's glass in the street, there's a bottle bank that's been emptied to provide makeshift missiles for some of the rioters. It's a very chaotic scene here.
And just to give a sense of how busy this part of London would have been, certainly when this began, I mentioned Mare Street, a very busy street in the heart of Hackney.
That's right. It's the main shopping street for this part of Hackney. And what happened when I got here at about 4:30 this afternoon, the traffic and the buses were backed up along a street that feeds into Mare Street. Some were turning around to get out, but the street itself was totally gridlocked. Nobody could get through. The demonstrators, the rioters had taken to the street. They started in this very narrow shopping precinct, actually called the Narrow Way, and attacked some of the shops there before moving out. But this is a heavily used part of the borough, and it's one that everyone knows, and I can see people watching from balconies and upstairs windows, everyone wondering what's happening in their neighbourhood tonight.
Alex, I'm going to say thank you for the time being, but I don't doubt that we will speak to you again at some point during the evening as we continue showing you those live pictures from our helicopter above that scene in Hackney where, well, you don't need me to tell you that you can still see a lot of trouble going on down on those streets. Let me bring in Eleanor Lowenthal, who's a shopkeeper from Hackney. Eleanor, thank you very much for coming on the line. Tell us where you are, where your shop is based in relation to what we've been seeing this afternoon.
My shop is on Lower Clapton Road, which is just around the corner from Mare Street, where the main trouble seems to be.
So how have you been affected?
Well, my shop was, some neighbours came and told me to shut at about 1 o'clock, and I decided not to at that point, although a lot of my neighbours did. At about 5 o'clock, I decided I needed to go and pick up the baby from down the road, and we shut the shop then.
And as far as you know, it's not been touched by any of this?
No, not directly. We saw a group of people coming very sort of nearby, and then they seemed to swing off in another direction.
What else have you seen and heard in the immediate locality?
Well, there's obviously a huge number of police sirens and helicopters everywhere, a general feeling of unease on the streets, and people kind of walking around looking a bit either excited or worried.
Did you get any sense before this began that something might start up in Hackney today?
Not at all, not until the dentist receptionist from just down the road came in, as I say, about 1 o'clock and said, look, everyone on Mare Street is shutting their shops. We think you should do the same. I was quite shocked at that point.
Right, so word was clearly spreading then, but there'd been nothing said to you before that?
Nothing at all. No indications whatsoever.
And where are you now in relation to what's happening?
Well, I'm just above the shop where I live.
Right.
So I'm looking out on the main road now. And in fact, as I look out the front, there's a lot of people congregating on my road now, which is very new in the last couple of minutes. There's been around 160 arrests now.
So you're sensing a sort of more people gathering near where you're looking out just now?
What?
More people are gathering near where you're looking out?
Oh my God, they're destroying Euronics. The big electronics shop on the corner of my road, just 3 doors from me, is being targeted and destroyed.
Are you able to see much from where you are of
It's
that?
on the fourth side of the street, Mika. All I can see is everyone else looking at it.
And what about police? Do you see many police nearby just
Any
now?
police is cool.
How do you feel about the way this has been handled, given that you are so close to all of it?
I can't really speak to how it's been handled at all, because I have no information to go on. But clearly, they've been outwitted here because there are no police at all in the vicinity.
Well, listen, Eleanor, we will leave you in peace, and we hope you stay safe as well. But thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Eleanor Lowenthal, who, as she was explaining, runs a shop very close to Mare Street and is in the flat above it now, still seeing clearly activity on the streets nearby. As we stay with these pictures, which are taking in different parts of Hackney, some parts where, as you saw earlier, there clearly is serious activity going on the streets with, as you saw, people throwing things at the police from time to time, some sort of burning wreckage of possibly a vehicle that was there as well. Other parts, as you saw there a moment ago, with people just standing around, watching what may or may not be happening. Jen Kerrison is on the line, a resident of Homerton, next to Hackney Central. Jen, tell us what you've been seeing and hearing today.
I was just wandering home from work and noticed that just about every shop in the Wells Street village was closed, and I had no idea what was going on, save for the sound of the helicopters. So I took a left down into, funnily enough, a street called Retreat Place and headed down towards Mare Street. And it just seemed to be a lot of Hackney families sitting out on their fences enjoying a warm summer afternoon. So I kept wandering and then slowly came across, I guess, a bunch of about 30 or 40 youth that didn't look to be doing very much at all, actually. So I proceeded through them, and it was just as I got beyond them that I saw the wall of riot police that were not allowing anyone any further down that road. So I guess I made a fairly hasty retreat back down Retreat Place and then headed back up onto Morning Lane to try and get home.